Hello, everyone. Welcome to Acumatica Demo Day, where you get to see 10 different ISVs in one virtual event, each bringing them 15-minute demos. So excited you're here. I'm your host, Amy Keenan of the ISV Society, and I try to bring these types of events to you to make it quick and easy to see a variety of solutions in one virtual event. So yes, we are here for a while because we get 10 ISVs to go through, but yes, it's in one day and you get it all done. So it does save you time. And if you do stay on the entire time and watch all 10 of these, you will be entered to win a fire pit. That's why our title is More Ideas, More Solutions. I want to recognize you for taking some time out of your busy day to join us, and who doesn't want to win a fire pit to have in their backyard to create some memories with the family? So I will be announcing that winner tomorrow after our demo day today. So with that, this is our lineup of the 10 different ISVs you will see. We have Crestwood, Aldrich, Blue Moon, Dynamic Budgets, Avalara, Lightspeed Voice, Solver, MetaViewer, CADTalk, and k-eCommerce. I am recording this and will be sending out the recording to everybody. It will be a playlist on YouTube with 15 of these demos broken up into 10, 15 minutes. So you can go and view the ones again or share with your team or view the ones you've missed. So try to make it quick and easy as well. If you do have any questions, put them in the chat or the Q&A, and we will have our presenters go in there and answer them after they've presented so we can keep things moving forward. And with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen and we are going to kick it off with Sean from Crestwood Associates. So welcome to Demo Day. Are you ready to kick it off?
I am. Thank you, Amy. Let me
Sure.
share my screen and we'll get started.
Great.
All right. So, as Amy mentioned, my name is Sean Garrity. I'm with Crestwood Associates. Today, we'll be demoing our collections management module for you. We do have some other enhancements for Acumatica as well, like advanced commissions, lockbox processing, advanced order rules, auto kitting. So, if you have any need for any of those solutions, or even just want to peek at them, see what they're about, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to us. But without further ado, let's jump into collections management. So as you can see, I'm in Acumatica and we are at a dashboard for collections. All of our solutions are created in the Acumatica framework. So there is a separate workspace for collections management. It is a customization package that's published to your tenant. If you did not know that this was a separate customization package, you would just think collections management is another module within Acumatica. You never have to leave Acumatica to use the solution or anything like that. If you are familiar with dashboards, you know that they are designed to be modified to fit your needs. So you can see there's a lot of information on this screen. We have some open invoices that a collector may be working on, other activities that a collector may be following up on, a chart showing open invoices by customer, some top due balances, aging buckets, as well as some days sales outstanding. So it is a busy screen. As I mentioned, it's a sample dashboard, so it can be modified to fit your needs for sure. So let's jump into the collections management workspace and show you what we have. As I'm sure you can all imagine, every type of collections these days involves email. So the first thing we'd like to do is take a look at email templates. This is not functionality that Crestwood created. This is standard Acumatica functionality. If you are already sending emails, automated emails for anything in the system, maybe sales order confirmations, you're probably familiar with using email templates. But we'll jump in here and show you what an email template looks like for collections. We have our first template here, letting clients know that they're going to have invoices coming due soon. You have the ability to control the text of the email, add logos or images as needed, and you have the ability to insert data fields from Acumatica. You can see that we're including invoice number, due date, document balance, just so clients have as much information as possible. Just to show you quickly, template 2, slightly different. We now have outstanding invoices due, and you'll see why we would have different templates like this. Again, change the text a bit, but still including some data fields. You are not by any means limited to 2 templates, but that's what we have in our demo system here for this. So let's jump into collection plan maintenance, and we'll start talking about our plans. So as you can see, we have 2 plans in our demo system. Didn't get overly creative with the names, good customer and bad customer. So we'll look at our good customer plan first. The first field that I'd like to mention here is our plan minimum. We have this set for $100 for our good customers. What that means is that we will not be looking at invoices for customers on this plan that have a balance of less than $100. You are able to control this and set it at whatever stage you would like it to be. But for our good customers, we're leaving it a little higher. We're not going to bother them on the smaller invoices. We're going to make the assumption that they would pay. The next field we're dealing with is after last executed step. So you have the ability to set this to continue to repeat the last step if you get to it, or you can just have it stop. You also have the ability to control the owner assignment, and this is who notifications or emails in the system are going to be sent from. So if you are the user that's running the plans and executing things, you can have all the emails come from you. You have the ability to set it to come from the default collector, or you can specify a collector in the system that you would like it to come from. We also have the ability to set it for the line level. So you have different steps in your plans, and you can have the messaging come from a different user for each step if you desire. For our demo, we're just going to leave it as run user to keep things simple. So when you create your collection plans, you have the ability to set up to 8 steps in each plan. The first thing that you're going to do when you create your step is to set your aging bucket. So for our step 1 here, you can see we have -15. That means we're actually notifying our clients of upcoming invoices that they will be receiving. The next field I'd like to mention here is the grace period. As you can see, I have it set to 0, and that's intentional in the demo system, just so I'm always populating activities. But in reality, you would probably set this to 15 for this step. What that does is it prevents your clients from receiving a notification or an email every time you process the collection plan. It's very frequent that you'll be processing the collection plans on a daily basis, but you're probably not going to want to email your client every day that they have invoices coming due. So you have the ability to control how frequently they receive your messaging. For the purpose of the demo, we'll leave it at 0. The next thing you're going to do on each step is choose your action. We have email set for our first step, but you could choose task, note, schedule a phone call, or you could even use fax if there's people that are still using that. We originally had a medical company that was using it and had to fax clients. Because we have email set as our action here, we get to choose which template that we'd like to use. So we can choose either template 1 or 2 or others if you have them available. Along with the email that's sent, you're able to choose your report type. You have 3 options here. Customer report is essentially a statement. It will send the statement that has all of the customer's open invoices on there. If you choose invoice report with all open, the email will include attachments for all open invoices under this client's account. And if you choose invoice report this step, it will only include or attach the invoices that fall within this aging bucket. So you have options on what you would like to do there. When we move on to our second step, you can see we're getting into the regular aging buckets for 1 to 59 days here. Again, no grace period set, but you have the ability to control that. Our action for step 2 is going to be a phone call. In here, we have a note scheduled in here as well, just to tell the collector, we want to make sure that you follow up in 5 days. We have the follow-up days set here, but the note obviously provides a little more guidance in case anyone isn't paying attention just to the follow-up days in the system. Step 3, we're now in our 60 to 90-day aging buckets. We're going to go back to sending an email again, and this time we've chosen our collections 2 template because the invoices are past due. We are still attaching our invoice report with all open invoices in there as well. When we jump down to step 4, we're now 90 to 120 days. We're going to send an email again. In our demo system here, we're just using collections template 2, but as I mentioned, you could have a third collection template set up. You may start to use slightly stronger language to your client, letting them know that they have invoices that are 90 days or more past due and you really need them to pay. And the same when we get to step 5 here. We have email again, and again, we're using collection template 2, but you could have an even more strongly worded template if you so desire. However, since we're in our good customer plan, most of these clients are paying when they're due. We never even get down to step 4, so we're not overly concerned about having additional templates for them. Excuse me. Let me jump into the bad customer plan. We'll show you some of the differences we have here. So for our plan minimum here, we're choosing $10. We are reaching out to our bad customers almost immediately on all of their invoices. We don't trust that they're going to pay, so we're keeping that value quite a bit lower to make sure that we're following up. Again, we can set the last execute step and the owner assignment as well for this plan. Again, we're contacting clients before the invoices are due to try to head off any people paying late. But for our bad customers, we're not messing around. We're starting directly with a phone call. We want our collectors to reach out, touch base with the clients, make sure they're aware that the invoices are coming, and we have them following up in 5 days if they're not able to connect. When we get down to step 2, we're now into our 30 or 90 aging buckets, and we have a second phone call scheduled. The difference here is now we have our collector following up every 2 days. We want to make sure that our collectors are touching base with the clients because they now have invoices that are more than 30 days past due, and we need to make sure we're getting a response for them on what's happening. As we get to step 3, we're now 90 days past due, and we're sending an email so we have written notification that we've contacted the client. Again, we're using collections template 2 here, but because this is the bad customer plan, you may want to have a separate email template specifically for them, something worded a little bit more strongly, and we're still sending all open invoices to them with that email. When we get to step 4 in this plan, we're no longer having our collectors follow up at this point. They are on the bad customer plan for a reason. They're 120 days past due, so we're creating a task, escalating this to management, and allowing management to decide exactly how we're going to proceed from there. Do we just want to follow up on the invoice again? Do we want to send them to collections? At that point, it's up to your management team to decide how they would like to proceed. Again, there are additional steps that can be configured. You can make your aging buckets much shorter if you so desire, but you have the ability to manage up to 8 steps in your plans. So at this point, we have our plans created. Oh, and one other thing to mention, you can create more than 2 plans. There's no limit to the number of plans you create. We do advise clients to keep it to a relative number that are easy to manage. The more plans that you have, the more management that goes on. So we would say don't overcomplicate it, but you can make it as granular as you would like to. So now let's jump into our collection customer maintenance, and we can assign plans to customers. So here you will see we have all of the customers listed. We already have our plans assigned here, but if you were setting this up for the first time and the plan ID was empty, you have the ability to go into each customer, assign a plan, and get them set up that way. You also would have the ability to export this to Excel. If you have a large client base and a lot of customers to set up, it's obviously easier to populate that data in Excel. You could just import that back into the collections management module to streamline that process. Now that we have the plan set up and the customers assigned to that, we want to go into collector maintenance and assign collectors. You can see I'm logged in as the admin, so I'll just choose that account. All of these customers are assigned to me to do it that way. If you are adding new customers once you've been using the process, it's no problem to come in here and just add a single customer to another collector if needed. Now, I have described this as a 2-step process, but we have a way to make this much simpler as well and do it as a 1-step under our collector customer import. You could easily have a spreadsheet here where you put your employee user ID, the customer name, plan ID, and then import all of this information at once. So it doesn't have to be done separately as 2 steps. We do have an easy way to do that and handle it in just 1 step. So now let's get into the processing of our plans and show you how this actually works. So we'll select our good customer plan to start. You see we have a calculate plan button, so we're going to do that. And you can see we have a summary on the top of the screen with similar information down on the bottom, but with some more detail. So we have 6 customers that fell into this plan when we calculated. 3 emails should be sent and 3 phone calls should be made. When we execute the plan, the emails will automatically be sent and activities will be generated in the system for them. One thing I would like to mention is this delete selected lines. If you received a phone call or an email or spoke with New York International Beauty School as an example, you probably don't need to schedule an activity to call them. You already know what's going on with them. So you have the ability to delete that line before executing the plan so that it won't be included. No reason to have extra activities in the system if you already know what's going on with the customer. So we'll execute that plan. We'll go back quickly and do our bad customer as well. We'll calculate that. We can see there's just 4 in this plan, and we'll execute that too. Now we can move on to our collection activity list. These are the activities that were created once we executed the plan. You can see this first activity is showing the attached AR invoice down below. So if you need to click into the invoice, no problem. You can get some detail before following up on it. But the way we'll work on the activity is to then click into it. And you can see we have a large text field here, so you're able to make as many notes as you would like to. If you're going to make a phone call, you can select your contact, and it's going to populate the phone number that's connected with this contact, so you can reach out, call them directly, no problem there. We added functionality to provide reason codes. You can define these and add as many reason codes as you want. While it's great to have notes down here, the reason codes were really created for a client that was interested in tracking trends. Why are we having invoices that are not being paid? Is there something that's going on in our process, and can we improve it? So by putting these reason codes in there, you have the ability to do that. As I mentioned, a large text field. You can type as much or as little as you want here, and just get the details saved in there. You're able to complete activities or complete and follow up if you need to. You also have the ability to get to the AR invoice from here if you are on the phone or speaking with a client, no problem there. You can see we also added the ability to create promises. A lot of times, you're following up on overdue invoices and, oh, sorry, I forgot, but I promise I'll send payment. So you have the ability to add a promise for any of the invoices that are open. If there were multiple invoices, you can add a promise for all of them. As you do that, you just continue to work down your list, add the activities, open them up, put notes in there, do whatever you need to do, and move on from there. When we do look at our promise checker, if we are receiving them, you can see this is a processing screen. This could be set up to run in the evening if you'd like, but for now, we're just going to go ahead and process all of the promises. And what we're able to do is look at collection promises, and you can see we have some conditional formatting here. The ones that you see in red are promises that have been broken. People said they were going to make payment or submit to us whatever they were going to do in regard to the invoice if they're disputing it or something like that, but they haven't done so by the date that they put in. The green ones are for promises that are still open. So a little bit of functionality there to help you better track what's going on. As you can see, we have a number of inquiries that are related to collections management, some reports as well, and dashboards, but we're always happy to work with clients to create any additional inquiries or reports or dashboards that are needed. So I know this was a very quick presentation, but a quick overview of collections management. If you're interested in discussing further, please let Amy or myself know and be happy to follow up with you.
Thanks so much, Sean. I love the good then bad customer. That's great. So yes, as I mentioned, we will be sending out the recordings to everybody and we will be sending out all the information afterwards as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or Q&A right now and Sean can answer them. But with that, we will now move on to Bill and Corey at Aldrich Web Solutions. Are you ready?
Yes, we're ready.
All right.
Sounds good.
And
So
thanks,
my name is
Sean.
Bill Rosado with Aldrich Web Solutions, and my co-host for the podcast and this demo is Corey Hayes.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here with you. So go through here real quick and show you a little bit about our invoice payments module. So Aldrich is an e-commerce provider, but we have a standalone customer service portal that allows your customers to come on, pay invoices, and see some information. We'll go through this obviously pretty quickly. Go through here. So once a customer is logged in to their particular account, of course, I can see all the information that's specific to my customer ID, my customer code. I can get links to customer orders, get links to quotes. All this is really a self-service portal that allows your customers to just have all of that information right there at their fingertips. Can get links to all those order details and company quotes. For now, what I'm going to pay attention to is this invoice feature, the pay invoices online. This is going to bring up all of the invoices that are open on my customer code in the ERP in Acumatica. From this master list here, I can actually select and do a payment for all of them at once if I wanted to. Click that, continue. It's going to give me my payment options. We have an integration that we set up with your credit card processor or your ACH processor payment gateway, so that customer can save those credentials or that bank account information within the system. It's not saving it to the website. We don't want to be in the business of PCI compliance. We're just taking a security token and going in and grabbing it from those processors. So that's a pretty crucial role there. If they don't have that, they can put their credit card information in or their e-check ACH information in and pay those invoices. So that's a high level batch pay. If I wanted to, I can select multiple of these and pay it that way as well. I don't have to necessarily pay the whole thing. Nice, just click easy to the button. Or if I wanted to go into a particular invoice, I can bring up the invoice detail by clicking that link. So as you can see here, I just get information that is obviously pertinent to the invoice, get it right here. Again, self-service. So get my PO numbers, my terms, my net due date. If there's an order number, the order number that is attached with this, grab that and show that here as well. And any tracking information, set up APIs for your shipping provider, whether it's UPS, FedEx, you name it, your own truck. We can have APIs linked and show tracking information. And then I get a breakdown of these part numbers that are attached to this invoice. So I can see if it's been shipped, if it's been ordered, if it hasn't been shipped, it will be, if it hasn't arrived, it's still remaining out there. You can see my unit of measure, and then I can get my unit price and my extension price. So get all of that information. And then from here, I can print the invoice out. I can email the invoice out, send it straight from here, or I can go to that same pay tab that I was doing for the batch pay. I can pay this particular invoice. Your customer can do a partial payment if they want to break that down. And something to note here is that you have the ability on the back end of the site and the admin, you have the ability to create line items like processing fees. So if you had a 3% credit card processing fee that you wanted to pass on to the customer, you can manage that. It's flexible to whatever you need. You choose the percentage, you choose the flat dollar amount, whatever you need. Okay. So they can pay for invoices that way. A couple different ways that they can navigate to those invoices. So I'll show this one quick here. I can go to the order details and I actually can look up all of the information that's specific to this order. And as you can see, I have related invoices that are attached to this order. So that's another way that I can navigate and get to that invoice detail and pay those particular invoices. Same thing. So if they current statement, your customer can pull that statement that is open up. They can print that out. They can put it into an Excel, CSV. They can export their payments or their invoices. And then again, they get a master list of all of the invoices that are on this particular statement with just some high level information when it's been invoiced, when it's due, PO number, and then the amount. If they make partial payments, it will show the open amount that they have left, so that they can continue making those partial payments until it's completely closed out. And then you get a breakdown of the total, what's past due 31 to 60 days, over 60 days, and what's current. Okay. And then, of course, I can click that same link and it brings me to that invoice detail as well. So a few different ways for your customers to navigate and self-service here, especially with frequently purchased items. Actually, in the customer portal, they can go ahead and they can create quotes, and they can send those off and to you to turn into orders. Show you a little bit of the background of the site here as well on our invoice payments module. You have the ability, so this isn't anything customer facing, but you have the ability to create a dunning list using our automated emails feature. You can create invoice dunning. You just have to set it up once and then you never have to touch it again. And how you set it up is you have a daily start time and stop time. So you select the window that you want emails to send out. By default, it's selected 10 to 5. And then you set up the email series. So this is looking at the due date of each invoice that's in your ERP. And then it's going to send on the days that you tell it to. So if you want it to send 10 days before the due date, you can do that. If you want to put 0, it will send at the time that the invoice is created. And then so on and so forth. 1 day past due, 30 days past due, 60 days past due, so on and so forth. You just toggle that on. You can get up to 6. You don't have to use all 6 if you don't want, but you can get up to 6. And then to show you just a little preview, of course, it would be branding specific. It'd have your logo, your colors, and then it shows the customer the upcoming invoice, friendly reminder on the due date, shows them the amount, and then it gives them this pay link where they can actually make anonymous payments on the particular invoice using the invoice number and the billing zip code. They put those in. They can pay via an anonymous pay link tab with a secure link. But of course, we're going to encourage them to go create an account and be able to self-service themselves in the customer portal. So that is sending straight to the contacts that are listed to receive invoices in your ERP. If for whatever reason you didn't want to send those out to a particular customer, you can configure, put those customer codes in here and say, I don't want these customers to receive invoice dunning. Reporting tools on all of this. So when dunning starts sending, when invoices start coming in, there's reporting tools in place that you can export, that you can go and you can grab and put it to Excel, send off to C-suite executives and show, what you're doing and how the customer self-service portal is being utilized. And all of those emails that I showed you, the email I showed you here, it is editable. So if you ever wanted it to read a different message, if you wanted to show a different message, you can edit this and you can edit by email. So you can change the language, the verbiage, if you want to on emails that are past due. Okay. Bill, anything that you want to add or throw in here?
So we have 20 years experience in B2B e-commerce, and where this came about is because a prospect asked us, hey, we don't want e-commerce, but we want an invoice payment solution. So this is a standalone customer service / invoice payment solution, but it actually also is a major part of our e-commerce, right? So if somebody's also looking at e-commerce, this is a solution that is all tied into it, rather than having your customer bounce to 2 different places. Now, if you don't have e-commerce, right, it literally could be an ad to a marketing page. Or if you have e-commerce, but it's with somebody else, right, it is the ability that you can add a link there, right, and a customer can bounce here. I think the biggest thing is those dunning emails, really taking off the AR to not have to manage that it all just gets automated. That a customer can also pay that anonymously, right? They can pay individuals or they can log in.
So think about the time that your AR team spends just sending those dunning emails, sending those out, and the amount of time that your team is utilizing just getting paid. And then think about the amount of time that it actually takes for your pay for that cash to actually get into the bank. You can shorten that cycle up, make it work a lot quicker, and be an automated process for you with the dunning. And then yes, just like Bill said, on our e-commerce platform, this is all swallowed into that. So it's not several portals that your customers are having to log into and different login information here. It's all consolidated into one place. Okay.
And with the shift in workforce, right, and we're moving into seeing baby boomers retire and other generations come up and have the responsibility, these are the tools that they're looking for, right? This is their normal day-to-day in their B2C world. They're looking for B2B tools that have the same exact access. They're not looking to write a check, right, and mail it in an invoice. They want to pay their invoices online, right? Quickly, easily. They don't need to talk to Corey, right? They just want to go ahead, find it is what they're looking for, and go ahead and pay that invoice. But you can also, they can track numbers as far as tracking. They can go ahead and search a part and find out what their price is and find out if you have it in stock. So there's a lot of self-service. And if you're missing the self-service that is in an interface that your customers are looking for, you're missing out opportunity as far as growth.
Yep. And just to show you some of that functionality here. So I just did a partial search of STN. This is going to bring all of the part numbers that are in my ERP with STN on them. Your customer can get a short description in the ERP description in the customer service portal to show them exactly what they're looking at. They can get inventory detail, support multiple locations. So as many locations as you have and you want to show inventory for, you can show what's available, and then you could show if it's due in a certain amount of days. And then yes, the pricing is always customer specific. Since your customer is logging in, they're going to get their specific price, whether it's contract, the pricing library that you have set up. It's going to be customer specific every time. This is all live call. So the moment that you update a price in your ERP is the moment that it's going to pull over to the website. So because it's doing a live call for pricing every single time. And then, yeah, your customer can add it to a quote, change the quantities, put an item if they need to build this quote request, and then they can submit it, and then it gets sent off to Acumatica. They get notified, you get notified, gets sent off to Acumatica for you to then turn into an order. A little bit different from the full e-commerce platform that, of course, is the ability to add items to a cart. You can really flesh out a lot of that data and the descriptions and the headlines and all of that good stuff into your data or into your items rather, and then they can add those items to a cart, submit it, and process it into Acumatica as an order. Okay. I think that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah.
All right.
If you have any questions, please just feel free to reach out to Corey or I. If you want to join and subscribe to our podcast, you're going to see that Amy actually was a guest on one of our podcasts previously. So
Yes.
if nothing else, watch Amy's podcast.
It's called Tech Talks. A little play on TED Talks there. Tech Talks, TECH, evolving distribution. So you can find it on YouTube or anywhere you find your podcast.
And we can include that in the recording email too, the link to that. So
appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Are you ready, Sarah? We have
I
Blue
am
Moon
ready.
Industries up next. So your team, take it away.
Cool. Well, hi, everyone. I am Sarah Orndorff. I am a senior systems consultant with Blue Moon. So just a little bit about us. We are an ISV, obviously. We have been in the ISV space for over 30 years. So we started with way back in the day, Dynamics GP, and we've extended our ISV solutions into the Microsoft stack as well as Acumatica. So one of our niches that really we have both expertise strength and software solution strength is in the distribution and warehouse management space. So today we're going to take a look at our warehouse management integration product. It is, I know it's a really snappy name. But, with Acumatica and with ERPs, you may have customers that are currently running a distribution solution, a warehouse management solution, and maybe looking to migrate the ERP, but they are happy with their WMS. So what we've done is we've created an integration between Acumatica and, multiple WMS systems. We're always adding more so that your back office can stay in Acumatica, but your customers can keep their existing WMS, or perhaps they are in Acumatica. They're looking for warehouse functionality, but perhaps they have more complex requirements than the Acumatica distribution solution offers. We make it very easy for them to be able to select a product, select a WMS, a distribution solution that fits their business, but seamlessly integrates all of those inventory, sales orders, and purchasing business processes. So, as you can see on the slide, right, when you're talking about WMS, really that becomes your source of truth for all of your inventory and your sales, your receiving. So what we're going to look through today are the areas where the integration will seamlessly create transactions in Acumatica, update quantities, really just provide all of the transaction detail that's happening in the WMS right back into your Acumatica system. So we're just taking a look at, and these are all, we are integrated with native Acumatica screens. So here we're looking at our inventory adjustment. So within an inventory adjustment, all of the, the increases or decreases, or perhaps they're scrapping product in the WMS, everything that happens in the WMS is going to create the adjustment right back in Acumatica. So you can see here, this is just an Acumatica adjustment, but it's been created from the activity that's in your WMS. And so your quantities will come from the WMS, the unit costs will come from your Acumatica system, but it's going to enable your Acumatica users to have that real-time inventory view, and when you perhaps streamlining that order process, right? So do you have quantities on hand to sell? So all of the activity in the WMS from the adjustment perspective will create your adjustment transaction here. You can see that this one is not released. We do have the ability, and you do have the option to do an auto release. So you never have to come in and post your adjustments, post your transfers. There we go. Or post your transfers, right? You can configure the solution at the document type level or at the transaction type to auto release when those adjustments or transfers are created from the WMS in Acumatica. So you can see here, we do support the transfer from warehouse to warehouse. So it's also configurable on how you want to map your WMS to Acumatica, if you want to map it with zones, if you want to map it from warehouse to warehouse. All of that is available in the setup. But here you can see the transfer. Again, release is available here, but you do have the option to auto release when the transactions are created. So you can see here that it has been transferred from one source to another, from one location to another location. And now perhaps that inventory was coming from a QA location, which is not available to sell out of, but now we've put it into perhaps a sellable location. So again, it is automatically creating these transactions. So your inventory is real time from all of the activity in your warehouse. From a purchasing perspective, any purchase orders that are created in Acumatica, again, it is configurable if you want to auto release, but you are creating those purchase orders within Acumatica because you've got things like your discounts, all your information about the vendor. That's all ERP data. However, we want the receivers on the dock to be able to have the access to purchase orders for when those boxes or pallets show up at the dock door. So releasing to the WMS just means that those POs are going to be sitting in the WMS waiting for, again, the goods to show up at the dock door. When they do come in, your warehouse folks will go through their process. They're not having to be in Acumatica. They're going through their receiving process. And when the receipts come back in, it creates that receipt within Acumatica. So they've got their handhelds, or perhaps they're using scanners, whatever warehouse technology, warehouse management technology they're using. When that receipt comes in and they confirm the receipt, then it will come up, it will create the receipt, it will match it to the purchase order that has shown up in the distribution center, and then it will automatically update the quantities received based on what that receiver is populating in the WMS. Again, these can be auto-released. So again, you don't have to worry about someone coming in and posting all of these transactions. And it is real time, again, when those receipts show up at the dock door. From a sales perspective, from the outbound perspective, this is, I think, for me, I've been in the distribution space for 20 years, and it's funny because I'm only 19. So with the sales order, this is really where the deepest integration is, and really it is your customer service, right? So you've got your salespeople or customer service people, they're creating their sales orders within Acumatica, where they have all of their pricing, all of that good ERP functionality, and then it goes down, we'll say, or it gets released to the warehouse so that they can put it on the warehouse floor and start picking and packing and shipping that transaction. So all of this is available. This is straight Acumatica functionality. It is mapped to the WMS so that you've got information like shipping shipping instructions, address information, all of that good stuff. So once it goes to the warehouse picks it up, they put it to the floor, pick, pack, and ship. And then once it's shipped and it's confirmed shipped in the WMS, the integration will create that shipment document in Acumatica. So it's confirmed, I can sit just in Acumatica if I'm a salesperson or a back office person, and I can see what has been shipped, the quantities. I can see any lot or serial information. I can also see from a packages standpoint, it is fully integrated there. So perhaps you're shipping multiple pallets. So you've got different shipping documentation associated maybe with each pallet. All of that good, rich data is written back to Acumatica. So, I'm a salesperson. I don't have to call to the warehouse manager or anyone in the warehouse to get information about my shipments. It's all created right here in Acumatica, ready to have the invoice created right from the shipment. Just a really quick look at the, it's very easy to configure, right? You would work with your warehouse management partner, or it's perhaps the IT person, right, at your customer's location to get the API keys for your WMS. And again, we support multiple WMSs. If there's one that we don't yet support, it is very easy for us to add them because it truly is just the transactions are integrated via APIs. Down here is really the warehouses that I'm looking to manage. So perhaps I have a site that is not integrated. I can do it right at the warehouse level. And then this is just a processing log. So this is really, if anyone really wants to come in and see what transactions were successful, if something wasn't successful, typically that's usually if there's an issue with a data point, but you can dig in here and you can see, oh, this purchase order came in, I can go take a look at it. This processing log is typically very useful right after you would go live and integrate the solutions. After that, it's really just available for your customer to see what transactions are happening between the systems. But typically, again, it's helpful right at a go live. But after that, people tend to forget about the log. So that, I know it was quick. I know we did screenshots because really all of the transactions and all of the functionality is happening in your WMS. We're just making it so that all of that WMS activity is automatically creating your Acumatica transactions, keeping your inventory updated in Acumatica, as well as having Acumatica manage your purchase receiving and your sales orders into the WMS waiting to be shipped or received. So if you need more information, please reach out to us. This is a quick 15-minute little taste of what we provide, but we can certainly, we'd love to get on a call, see what prospects you have that may need this functionality, and see how we can help.
Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank
Love
you.
that you connect to any warehouse, so that makes it easy.
Yeah, it is. And typically if you have a customer that maybe is migrating from an existing ERP to Acumatica, but biting off an ERP and a WMS implementation, perhaps they want to migrate their ERP for that rich accounting functionality that Acumatica has, but they're happy with their WMS. Now you can offer that Acumatica as a solution while they can continue to use a WMS that perhaps is highly customized, or they may have some change management issues with their DC folks. Not that that ever happens. Everyone loves change, especially systems. So it really does open up for your prospects. It opens up more functionality, but also it allows them to continue to use solutions that they're used to using.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Cool.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A or chat so we can answer them after they do their demos. But we will keep going. Welcome, Zubin from Dynamic Budgets. Are you ready? I can't, you're muted.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Okay, let's go ahead and share screen. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry. Alrighty, so everyone take a quick stretch. We're almost halfway through our presentations today. So you guys are champs for hanging in there. Appreciate your time today. Thought it would kind of warm things up with a little comic in here. Budgeting is not the most pleasant experience for most of you. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump over to our slides here. Go ahead and into present mode. Amy, can you see the screen okay?
Yep, it looks good.
Okay. Alrighty. So Dynamic Budgets is a budgeting, forecasting, and reporting solution for Acumatica. We've been in the ERP space for about 15 years. We started with the Microsoft Dynamics GP and NAV. We've migrated over to Sage Intacct, Oracle, and Acumatica over the last few years, as we've been supporting our customers as they transition off of Dynamics GP into the cloud ERPs. Acumatica is one of the easiest platforms for us to integrate with. We leverage the generic inquiries, export and import scenarios, and it's a real pleasure to be able to work with the Acumatica system. Not to say that we can't do it with other systems, but the other systems tend to be a lot more steps for integration. What we're focused on right now is want everyone to think of one primary question. Do you struggle to involve your non-technical, non-financial managers in the budget process? We are a sophisticated budgeting solution. We have a lot of finance teams using this as a tool for centralized budgeting purposes. But our sweet spot is when you are trying to reach out to the unwashed masses of your Excel challenged operating heads to get them involved in the process and to get them to itemize their budgets. Typically, we're in a rush. It might be a 3-month ordeal to create a budget. By the time you grit the budget, it gets board approved. Half of the assumptions that were in there are out of date and no longer apply. That's the typical kind of complaints that we hear from our customers. A lot of our customers are transitioning off of Excel-based processes where you've got tons and tons of spreadsheets flying out to your department heads. Somebody in finance has to essentially collect those, aggregate those, put them into a master import file, then import those back into the system, run your financial report, see where you're at. It's just a big process. We have basically centralized and automated that whole process. I was a finance professional. I worked for a public traded company. At our peak, we had 600 Excel files, 600 departments with Excel files dedicated to each fund. And it would take me weeks of time just to prepare those, get those out, and try to collect them back. So what we want to do is really focus on budgeting using a tool, cut the amount of time that it takes to process everything, be able to use the tool, not just put this on the shelf and forget about it till next year. To actually use the same budgeting and reporting tool to review your monthly budget to versus actual budget variances, and then take notes in the system as to why you were over under. Those notes can then come back in to help you reforecast or to enter your next budget. What sets us apart is really speed of implementation. We built a better mousetrap. I was that frustrated user that said it couldn't take this much time, be that expensive, and be that complicated that we can't involve end users. There's got to be a better way. Searched the marketplace, couldn't find a solution, so we built one. Like Acumatica, we have an unlimited user license. So if you have 15 people involved in budgeting and another 30 people can use this as a reporting tool, great. But we are also humble. We realize that our sweet spot is collecting and processing the budget data. The Acumatica has a very robust set of reporting tools that you may want to keep in place. If you want to keep in place, if you have something more sophisticated like Power BI or Tableau, go ahead and continue to use those reporting tools. We're focused on collecting and processing the budgets, and we give you convenience reporting so you don't have to leave the tool to see where you're at, but be able to continue processing. A lot of our end users actually say they like the budgeting tool. Very hard to get that out of end users to say they actually enjoy using the tool, but they do. We have a standardized interface. Why are we so fast to implement? It's a standardized interface. It's easy to mass deploy to large numbers of departments. So we have some small not-for-profits with maybe 10 departments. Usual customers get hundreds departments. Our largest customers get about 30,000 cost centers. So been battle tested with very large organizations. We have very loyal customers. For the partners on the call, our GP customers have typically been using the product for about 10 to 15 years now. As they continue to use the product, that they're really excited about being able to have some sort of continuity between GP and Acumatica, be able to have a familiar interface that users continue to use the same interface that they've been using for budgeting and reporting. We're seeing about 97% retention rate. Just a quick sample of some of the types of customers. We work across professional sports, faith organizations, a lot of healthcare customers, insurance providers, not-for-profits, industry associations, and such. We'll set up, we are a standalone application. We sit outside of Acumatica. It is a dedicated Windows desktop application. We have scheduled refreshes. We typically will refresh the data nightly from Acumatica. We don't want to overburden the system with continual transaction hits. So we're typically doing this once a night. Some of our customers will actually do this periodically throughout the day. One of our customers even updates every 15 minutes. So it's up to you how often you want to refresh the data. I'm going to kind of glance over this, but this is kind of the typical data entry screen. If you're starting from what looks like a financial report, you have the ability to drill down and itemize your request for your budgets for the next year. The bottom half of the screen has links to show you the prior historical spend. And at any point in time, you can click through and look at the transaction details that are coming up from Acumatica. When we go to the payroll options, I'll show this to you, but we have a monthly salary-oriented screen. We have an hourly-oriented screen. It depends on which language your end users speak, whether they think in terms of FTE percentages or if they think in terms of hours per pay period. We also have a dedicated shift scheduling third payroll module for the 24/7 operators in healthcare and hospitality. I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the product here and show you a live demo. Okay. All right, so our typical interface is going to look like this. You're going to start off with a search. You could search from one of your departments. If you have access to more than one department, you might see a roll-up of multiple departments. I could go into any individual department, or if I was an administrator, I could search the entire company. I'm looking at my account and sub-account combinations here on screen. If you have branches in Acumatica, some of our customers will treat the branches as a company and have a sort of separate, segregated interaction by entity. And some of them treat it as just a single Acumatica instance, one single company, and then they treat the branches as part of the definition of what we call an organizational unit. So they might have branch on this roll up, and then they might have the sub account over here, or the multi-segmented sub account over here at the department and cost center and location levels. In here, I've got a laundry list of all my accounts to choose from. This could have been structured as a financial report. Might have shown a couple of years of actuals, my current year forecast, my next year budget. It depends on how complicated you'd like to make the screen. If you'd like to apply some formatting, you want to see, roll this up and see where are we at. You don't have to consolidate or aggregate anything. If you had done a company-wide search, you just simply turn on report formatting. And if you want to see where you're at top level, let's go ahead and drop this down to my top level categories and revenue, COGS, personnel at the company level. This is what we look like. If I wanted to change that perspective and look at this from a department P&L, I could change this and look at maybe my departments, sales, ops, and admin, then drill down into my locations, then drill down into my account categories. We didn't have to change the reports and change this on the fly. We can just kind of just do this on the fly without having to rerun the reports. When I go back to my raw laundry list, I might be able to use this filtering and jump down to my rent accounts and drill down into my account for my rent at the New York location. And I've itemized rent, CAM security, and maybe even put in provision for a lease escalation starting in the beginning of next year. That end user at the bottom, if they had any questions about their prior performance, could actually click into the bottom of the screen, drill down, and look at some of the transaction details coming back from Acumatica. When they're done with the budget, they could go ahead and imagine that we've closed the budget. We're coming back in here month over month and reviewing our performance. You could come in here and run a variance report. And I'm just going to filter and look at my rent account specifically. I was concerned about rent New York. We've got a $5,900 variance in here. I could double click to try to analyze what was going on with my variance. I'd see a split screen and my transaction details versus my budget. And then I can drop in and comment in here. And why was I over under for the month? How am I going to be able to recover by year end? And next year, should we do something different? We can drop in those explanations in there. They would show up here on screen when we refresh the screen. And then more importantly, next time we go to budget that account, our notes can be sitting there to help us influence and make better decisions in that next forecasting or budgeting cycle. So down here, I can see the history of the account, but I can also look back and see if I left myself any notes. We forgot to rent 4.2 in the budget. We're going to be over budget. Go ahead and bump that up next year by $2,000 every month. So you could come back in here and say $2,000 for my next floor in my next forecast, renting for 2. We have the ability, so our reporting in here is relatively plain and simple, but you have the same rows, same columns of data that you can get in your more formal board reports. Might not look as pretty, might not be the same same formatting capabilities, but we do have the ability to work with Power BI, Tableau, and such, and you can embed those reports within our product. So if you wanted to look at budget versus actuals, KPIs, dashboards, or report cards and such, you can structure those right here. I've got a lot of other features. I can be sort of the Energizer bunny and keep going and going and going. I'll just let you know that we have a lot of robust tools to import data in from Excel, to duplicate your budget in its entirety, to go from the original company to your original budget to your next budget is just a couple of button clicks away to make a duplicate. Over here is our chart of accounts management. We have a number of different allocation calculators, payroll, and I'll touch last on security. End user security can come down to different roles. The end users can be granted access to certain menus, end user menu functionality in the left and administrative functionality in the right. You can grant somebody access to payroll, but none of the financial management tools. So if you want to have a payroll person just work payroll, you could, or vice versa, you could have a finance person who's excluded from payroll. We can go down to grant explicit permissions at the company level or at the individual department levels with read, write, approve, and different confidentiality settings from non-sensitive all the way up to DEFCON 5. More than happy to go into more details in the direct demo. Thank you very much for your time today. And Amy, I'll turn this back over to our next presenter.
Thank you so much. We're almost halfway through with today's Acumatica Demo Day. Next up, we have Colin and Daniel from Avalara.
Perfect. Colin, I'll share the screen if you want me to for the first slides.
Yes, please.
All right. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Excellent. Letting me go into the mode, but I'll make the best of it. I know we're short on time. So my name is Daniel Robles. I'm an e-invoicing solution consultant right at Avalara. I'll be co-presenting with Colin, which is the managing director at Acuris. Now, the impact of e-invoicing on businesses and tax compliance. For the ones that don't know what e-invoicing is the way that the governments are closing the VAT gap when it comes to certain mandated invoicing requirements around the world outside of the United States. Um, Basically, when you're doing a B2B transaction, B2C transaction, or even a B2G transaction, you have to be able to submit. Oh, there it goes. You have to be able to submit your invoice in a certain schema format to the tax authorities of the country you're invoicing and get the approval before that transaction can take place. When it comes to this mandate wave that's approaching the EMEA markets, there's over 60 billion transactions of e-invoicing that have to be done in real time. Right now, worldwide, there are 60 mandates around the world that are doing in some kind of flavor when it comes to e-invoicing. There's different models. There's the models when it comes to clearance models, there's reporting models, there's a centralized model. They're all different models on the way you need to submit invoicing when it comes to the world we're living in. Now, we've seen a strategic shift take place when it comes to e-invoicing. What a lot of this middle market companies and enterprise companies are doing right now. They want one global solution, and that's what Avalara can offer. This global solution, it is an API-based solution that could be integrated with clients' ERP systems, in-house systems, so they're not reinventing the wheel. This API that lives within Acumatica will be able to transform your information when you're creating an invoice, a debit note, or credit note into the correct format for the country that we are invoicing for, submit it to the tax authorities, get a response message that has been approved or rejected, and then that transaction has been completed. This is very scalable, and since the API is created, adding different countries or adding mandates that they come to the market becomes a matter of configuration instead of doing a whole out blown implementation, depending on what the complexity is for that market. And then we have flexibility and we're transparent when it comes to this information. As long as you're scaling, you're growing, we support that market, understanding if it's account receivables that we're implementing or account payables that's being implemented. The Avalara solution with Acumatica can abide with that information. How can we help Avalara invoicing and live reporting? Now, Avalara offers a different type of design. Like I said, the point is not to make this process very confusing for customers or for your customers as well. That is a global platform where one API supports every single market that we have in business. We have over 40% markets that we cover from an AR AP standpoint. We are partner modeled first. We have a pre-built connector when it comes to Acumatica and other systems as well. Basically, we have one form of structure on way that we receive invoices or credit notes or debit notes into the platform, whatever the customers are invoicing. We're able to transform that structured format, which is the UBO structure, goes into the Avalara cloud. We're able to map it to the correct format needed for the jurisdiction that we're invoicing. It gets approval from the tax authorities and it comes back to us. We basically do all the heavy lifting. All we need from your team is the data. After that aspect of it, we're able to get those payloads, map them over, connect to the government, and send a status message back so the transaction can be completed. Now, what we're seeing here in the market right now is this diagram where you see on the top of that my cursor is moving. A lot of companies have different point solutions when the markets they're going to. So they'll have a platform that they need to log in when it comes to any markets within LATAM, within EMEA, within the APAC. Avalara's main goal is to simplify that information. We can worry about the VAT, the tax, the sending of the invoice, and you concentrate on your business. So we simplify this by just having one single API integrated with Acumatica, and you'll be able to see a bird's eye view of all the countries you have in scope within one platform. You're not going to several different platforms. You're able to see the statuses of these compliant invoices or credit notes or debit notes within one single screen, completed. We handle errors within initiative APIs and UI, so you have visibility into the whole market. And then now to Colin, he'll go over a little bit of a demo on how that information works within Acumatica.
Great. Thanks very much, Daniel. Hopefully you can see my screen.
We can.
So we're logged into our Acumatica system. You'll notice here on the left-hand side, we have an Avalara menu. So a customization project is installed on your system. There's no cost for this module. As long as you're subscribing to Acumatica or Avalara services, then this comes part of that. So as Daniel was explaining, we're basically sending invoices from Acumatica to customers and receiving invoices from suppliers based on the different countries in which a mandate is active and we need to work with. So the way we set things up, we have a connection. And in here, you're basically putting in the API details that you'll get from Avalara. And on this tab, once that is enabled and active, you'll notice that we have this list of mandates. So just as Daniel was explaining there, each country, for example, just filtered by the UK here, Great Britain, you'll see that there's a couple of mandates listed. So you just select which mandates you need to work with, and those will be available for configuration. And as new mandates get put out, you can just refresh the list and set them up very easily. Okay. So once you have a mandate active, what needs to happen is to set up the mapping for that mandate. So in this example, we have the UK, Great Britain, for a B2B, business to business mandate, and PEPL refers to a network that transacts the files through to the end recipient, and Avalara is connecting to that network for us. So you'll see on this screen, it's quite a busy screen. I won't go through everything in precise detail, but we're just mapping fields from our invoice screen to fields in the mandate. That is the whole principle of what's going on here. So in this row, for example, you see you have a document currency code, and all of these fields refer to the fields in the mandate that need to be filled in. You'll notice here that's set to a required field, and that's mapped to our document and the query ID, a very common field for people familiar with Acumatica. And this field, the way that it's mapped, is through the same formula editor that you would use in other parts of Acumatica. So you've got all the fields that you need to reference on the document, and the transaction lines, customer, those are all available for you to select. Being the formula editor, if I just show you the field above here, you can also use the different formula if you need to, for example, do a little bit of data maintenance before it's sent to the mandate. So in this case, INV refers to an invoice, but the mandate code for that is 3080. A credit memo has a different code. So this is the sort of thing that you can do within the formula editor to map all the fields. So the way that this is set up, it actually loads all the fields for you, all the required fields, and then you can go and set up the different mappings according to the requirement for that mandate. There's several other features here that we'll just skim over. So multi-line situations on your document, such as tax lines or rows in the invoice, some other required bits and pieces. There's a filtering capability, so you may not be sending e-invoices to all organizations, so you can filter things, and this is the same mapping concept for bringing documents in through this mandate. Okay, so it's just a very quick overview. The next thing I want to do is just show you quickly how this works on a transaction. So we'll pop up an invoice. This is just a standard demo data system of Acumatica, an unreleased invoice. So I'll release that invoice. Now we're going to come back in a second to the Avalara Documents tab, where we'll see the sent invoice popping up in our list. So over the top here, you've got your processing screen for sending out invoices or receiving invoices. And as you can see, we've got the send invoice action. We'll select that mandate that was configured earlier. And that invoice we just released, number 12, is down here in the list. Only documents that have not been sent will be sitting on this list. This is one of these things where you basically just configure it, set up your schedule, and these kind of things happen automatically in the background. So we'll process that. And this is doing exactly what Dan was just mentioning. We're connecting to the Avalara API, which is a single structure for the file that then can map to all the different mandates, all the different countries, which have a lot of nuances that need to be worked with. So if we zip back to the invoice, what we'll see is on the tab that the document has been successfully sent to Avalara, and we've received an ID from the API. If I click this button here, this step can actually be done together with the processing screen. Just want to show you that quickly manually. You see the log here on the side. So we processed the document, and the document was delivered to the recipient. So if there's any issues, you see all that information there. So it's easy to track and audit. In this test environment, we can actually work on the other side of this transaction. We can receive that same invoice that we just sent. So I'm going to open up the other processing screen, select the same configured system here. We'll just pop in today's date. And it's loading the invoices that have been sent. Now, this is the curse of the demo. That's not appearing there. So let me just try changing that date there. Yeah, don't know what happened there, but we should have been able to see that invoice popping up and to be able to retrieve it on the AP side. So I apologize for that. But that's basically what we wanted to show you today. There's several other sort of technical features, but it's really about the different mandates, mapping those correctly with the different fields, and that sends through the API and retrieves that as well. I did have one that I did earlier. Let me just quickly show you what happens when we receive an invoice. So this is a bill that we've been pulled through from the API from a vendor. You'll see in the files we have an attachment. So the technical document that we're working with is this thing here. So it's basically an XML file describing the e-invoice, send it to the API of Avalara, and then it goes onward from there to all the different things that need to happen through to the government system, through all the checks, and then on to the intended recipient. So that's my overview. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Colin.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are halfway through demo day. So excited. 5 more to go. See, it just fly by. I mean, these 50-minute demos, I feel like it just flies by. It makes it good. So with that, we want to now hand the reins over to Andrew at Lightspeed Voice. Are you ready, Andrew?
Yes, I am ready. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. There we go. Fantastic. All right. Great. Can you see that as
Looks
well,
good.
Amy? Okay, great. So yeah, nice to meet everybody, and thank you, Amy, for hosting this along with the ISV Society. I am with Lightspeed Voice, and little background on myself. I started with our company just over 6 years ago as a technician, and then moved over to the sales side. So yeah, got a couple different certifications, both in networking, phone systems, etc. So moving on to a little bit about Lightspeed Voice. So move this up here. There we go. We are a cloud-based voice over IP system that is integrated with Acumatica as a certified integration partner, which is kind of a fancy way of saying we are a modern business phone solution that will insert all of your phone records inside of Acumatica, which I will show a little bit later on here in the demo. And moving on, a little bit about our timeline. Started the company in 2004, and then started the phone system back in 2009. So we've been doing business phone solutions for over 15 years. And recently in 2023, we kind of relaunched, went back to our roots, and also relaunched our MSP side of our business. So I'll touch on that in a little bit here as well. But a little bit about why customers go with Lightspeed Voice. First of all, we have a 99% client satisfaction rating, and that's just due to 100% of our company being US based, which is kind of unique inside of the phone system world. So even our development team, customer service team members, all mostly based out of Florida, New Jersey, couple other pockets around the United States. But it's one of the big reasons customers like to go with us is great tech support. We can answer any questions you have, manage your phone system as well, set up the integration with Acumatica also. And then another big one is 99.999% system uptime. That's due to us owning the infrastructure and also the servers that we host your accounts on. So not necessarily the norm when you look at overall voice over IP companies in the United States. So it's nice to touch on. And then this is back to that customer service piece I just mentioned. Again, 100% US based. We do both phone support and ticketing systems. So if there are any call routing changes or things that you have questions on about your account with us, you can reach out to us. We can troubleshoot or fix something, or even do training with a new team member. So kind of takes a lot of the managing the phone system and training new employees off of your plate, which is extremely helpful because, most likely your forte is not managing and servicing a phone system. That's why we kind of do that for you. So, and I do encourage everyone, if you're interested in learning a little bit more, not only reach out to us, but also look online at some of our reviews and happy customers, Google reviews, whatever. So moving forward, a little bit about our technology. So like I mentioned, we are a phone system at our core, but we also have a managed services piece that focuses on cybersecurity and threat detection and response, which is kind of what we built the company on, moved away from, and then have recently more in 2023 re-implemented. So it's been a huge hit just with all the advances of AI and AI threats to your business. So happy to add that on. It is not mandatory that you implement our MSP product with our phone system, but it is an option that I did want to touch on while we're going through it. So back to the phone system. We have a AI piece that actually transcribes all of your calls. So that is helpful because and these are actually being inserted into Acumatica as well. So essentially the way to think of it is you hang up a call, you go back to review the call. Not only do you have the ability to go back and listen to it, you can also read through the transcription, see what was said, search through the transcription for keywords or key phrases, along with a sentiment analysis too. So it's going to rate your calls on a positive, negative, or neutral scale. We're also pushing out a newer update that we've pushed out is sentiment alerts. So let's say someone working with the customers has had a negative call or 3 negative calls in a row, that will actually send an alert to maybe someone in the management team or vice versa. Maybe they've had 3 great calls. That'll send an alert also to the management team so they can see maybe what they're doing really great in their phone calls. So, and also my favorite piece of the AI portion is it's taking that full transcription, giving you a 3 to 4 sentence summary of what was talked about on the call. So it'll take that summary and also push it into Acumatica, which I'll show in just a bit here. And with the AI piece, we do have PII redaction, personal identifiable information redaction. So you have the ability to, if someone gives a social security number or a credit card number, whatever, it will redact that information for both your customers and your business's protection. And then another piece to the phone system. So again, we are cloud-based, which means we do support desk phones. And if you're on a traditional, what we call POTS, plain old telephone system, or an analog system, this mobile application and even a computer program to place and receive calls might be new to you. The best way I can describe a mobile app is it's your desk phone in your pocket. So another example I kind of give is I'm based out of Florida. So let's say you want to get out of the cold. You're from up north and you fly down to Florida. You're sitting on the beach. Someone calls your business or you need to place an outbound call. You no longer have to give out your cell phone number. You can open the app, place a call. As long as it's not too windy on the beach, people will think you're sitting in your office or wherever you work from, which is very helpful. Along with it's still recording those calls, so if you need to go back and listen, you can. It is also inserting that recording into Acumatica, which I'll show during the demo piece. And our phone system also gives you the ability to text message your customers from your business number. So we turn your business number into both a calling number and a texting number. Text messages will also push into Acumatica. So integration. So how do we play with Acumatica? How do we integrate? I'm going to show a quick video here that shows the integration. Fantastic. So first piece of the integration is really my favorite. If you can see my name anywhere, I've got a crazy Czech Republic last name that is nearly impossible to pronounce and also very hard to spell. So when I call into a business and they've got my information pulled up automatically on their screen, that is extremely helpful. And that is what we do inside of Acumatica. Someone calls your business. As soon as you answer the call, it is going to do a screen pop, pull up that customer record on your screen as soon as you answer the call. We have the ability to search, as you know, there are multiple phone fields inside of Acumatica. So we can actually search where you save phone numbers and pull up that portion of Acumatica on your screen, like I said, as soon as you answer. Something I did not note, we built out the Acumatica integration because we're an Acumatica user ourselves. So, that we basically reached out to Acu and we're like, hey, we love your system. We've been using you forever. Can we be a integration partner? And they were all for it. So we're really happy with that. The second pieces of the integration actually occur once you hang up the call. So inside your activities, which you can see here, once you hang up a call with this customer, and it could be, the parent account, whatever, where you have that number saved, you will see a log that says phone call. There's also text messages. And if you click on one of those log entries, you will see every detail of the call. So in this case, you can see there was an inbound call from this Chris Thompson parent account. Your employee, Douglas, received that call, how long the call was, duration and also a sentiment, both on a overall scale, and it also now does an ending sentiment as well. So how the call ended and also the overall sentiment, positive, negative, or neutral of the call. My personal favorite, however, is going to be the AI summary piece, which is basically taking, let's say you're on a 30-minute call with a customer or some type of account, and they updated billing, they did XYZ, they placed an order, and you're chatting with them for 20, 30 minutes, and right when you get off the call, you take another inbound call or get pulled in a different direction. What our system is doing is it's taking that transcription and it's giving you a summary of the key points of the call and inserting that into this note insertion with a link to the call recording as well. So as you click these, you can simply read what the call was about, who placed or received it, or you can also click the link here and go back and access the actual call recording. So you can listen to it, download it, attach it to an email, do whatever you need to do with it. Use it for training, which is another great purpose for call recordings. So in my opinion, though, call recordings are great for protecting the business, right? So that's another reason to have those. You can also see here, and something I mentioned prior is text messaging. So we do turn your business numbers into texting. We enable texting capabilities on them. And we also log those texts inside of Acumatica. So if someone from Chris Thompson parent account sends a text message to your business number or multiple numbers, however you're texting, it is going to log the contents of that text message in the activity field again inside of Acumatica. So again, what we're basically doing is we're taking every phone interaction, phone and text message interaction, and logging it inside of Acumatica, giving it so you don't have to jump into the phone system if you don't want to find your call logs, etc. with a particular customer. It is inserting that data into Acumatica for you automatically. So, and other pieces of the integration, if you're using a desk phone now and you can imagine how many times you hand dial a number, or even if you're using a soft phone application, an app on the computer to place and receive calls, you're either hand typing numbers or you're copying and pasting numbers into your phone. We have a click to call feature as well, where you can click any number, it hand dials it for you, and you're calling that number. So that is a big time saver also. What else do we have here? So this is a little bit more about the integration. Those screen pops, again, very helpful. You don't have to ask when you answer, hey, who's this calling? You already know who you're talking to as soon as you answer the phone. And we talked about the call logging along with the summary being inserted into Acumatica, along with text messaging and the call recording link. And that is what I have for the demo. So again, here's our contact info. If you do have any questions or would like to schedule a full demo to take a look and see what else we have to offer from the phone side or also the managed services side, feel free to give us a call. We can go through that and kind of do an analysis to see if we could be a good fit for your business and go from there. So again, huge thank you to Amy and the ISV Society. And I will stop sharing and hand it back to you, Amy. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. There is a question for you in the Q&A if you want to go in and type the answer.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Sounds great.
All right. Next up, we have Solver. We have 4 left. That's it. 4 demos left. So are you ready, Brianna? We can't hear you.
There we go. I was trying to find the button. Yes, I'm ready. Hello,
Okay.
everybody. Hello. Thanks for having me, Amy.
Sure.
All right, so I'll go ahead and start here. So my name is Brianna, and I'm a solution engineer here at Solver. So today I will transform your budget with Solver XFP&A, and Acumatica. All right, so here's a little background about Solver, and we're here to accelerate intelligent decision. So Solver was founded in 1996, and we are a cloud-based tool for financial planning and analysis. And we also go as an XFP&A with an AI-focused strategy that increases access to actionable insights beyond the finance department. So Solver uses a Microsoft-based platform, and we offer a familiar Excel interface, so it's easy to use, and reporting and analytics features as well. We easily connect with various ERP systems and improve data visualization through using Power BI integration as well. So here you see Solver's architecture. So, sorry about that. There's a notification. So here you see Solver's architecture. The connector wizard offers an intuitive low-code, no-code solution for seamless connectivity to various data sources, as you see here. With this feature, users can easily integrate their data into Solver, creating a single source of the truth. So that enables your team to work from a unified and accurate real-time version of your information. Our software also provides on-demand training through our Solver Academy, ready-to-use reports. We call them out-of-the-box reports. And we have pre-configured connectors such as Acumatica. So here is something new. We'll take a look at Solver's first AI initiative. So Solver is investing in an AI-first initiative to drive innovation across our platform. So going forward, all new features will be evaluated through the lens of AI enablement. So specifically to determine how Solver Copilot can enhance usability, efficiency, and strategic value. So we believe our mission to accelerate intelligent decisions is powered by the intelligent application of AI. As part of this initiative, the Solver product team is reviewing all of the existing and upcoming capabilities to identify opportunities where AI can meaningfully improve the experience and outcome for our users. So Copilot is composed of a suite of intelligent agents that function as specialized assistants. So each is designed to support a core area of user value. So you have your help agent, and this is like a guidance and onboarding feature. And then planning agent, analysis agent, and task agent. So they all have special abilities that they offer. All right, so here is, this slide is a visual illustration of the Solver AI focused strategy and the Solver Copilot suite. So this displays the specialized assistants and their roles in enhancing the AI-driven decision-making within the Solver platform. All right, so now let's get into budgeting. So here's a budget reality check. We understand sometimes when in construction, budgeting can be a bit challenging due to manual spreadsheets, disconnected teams, and constant rework to lead to delays and cost overruns. So traditional tools just don't offer that visibility or control needed today. So Solver changes that. We integrate with ERPs like Acumatica to create the single source of the truth, eliminating version issues and manual consolidation. So we offer workflows, and those are automated processes So department heads can enter data once and update flows through instantly. No more chasing spreadsheets. You'll get the real-time visibility with status tracking, audit trails, and secure collaboration. All right, so I'll go ahead and show you guys a short demo on using one of our budget templates and displaying our workflow. This is a scenario for Excel chaos. And Janet's team manually distributes Excel templates to 15 plus department managers. Each project manager builds separate budget without visibility to labor constraints. Equipment availability or corporate overhead and allocations, and change orders require manual rework across multiple spreadsheets. Well, our solution here to help Janet is our workflow. So here's a live demo of the workflow process. This is our Solver homepage within the Solver Cloud portal. So I will go ahead and go to our workflow section in the menu here. All right. And this is going to take us to the main page. I'll go ahead and select new. And then add the workflow name, so budget input. And then here I can add a date range. So I can schedule a specific time frame that I want this specific user to work on this budget input. So starting today, let's give them a week. And then I'll select specific budget templates that I want them to review. So here are two that I will send on over. And here you can preset your parameters. So I can select and make sure this particular user that I will be sending this assignment to, they are looking at the correct department. So you can select any department here or have the user decide. But in this case, I want them to look at specific information. And here is where you'll select the user. So I go to the users list. I will select the user and I'll select my name here. And then any approvers or reviewers. So right now, Janet is the main person in charge of all of the employees that they need to review budget forms. So I will go ahead and send it over to Brianna. Or sorry, I'm going to have Janet, which is the demo admin at this time, be the reviewer. All right, so we filled out the workflow. Everything looks good, and it's good to go over to Brianna, who has been assigned these two budget inputs. All right, so now you see Brianna's front page of the Solver portal. And she did receive a notification. So it shows here, you have a new assignment, you have received the assignment of the budget input. So let me go to the assignments. A little delayed there. All right. And our budget input. So this is one assignment that I have, and we have the two templates that was just assigned. So let's take a look into this one here. All right. So this is assigned to Brianna to review. As you see at the top here, I'm unable to click any of the parameters that were preset because this is what I'm supposed to just look at. So I can go ahead and run this. All right. And now it's time to review this specific budget form. So I am in charge. So let's say I'm Brianna now, and I'm not the demo admin. I'm in charge of making sure our travel expenses and training expenses they're within budget. And these are key indicators here. So green is good. It's good to go. We did great. And then the red needs some attention. So we want to pay attention to anything that is red and if it's in the threshold that was preset here at the top left. So as you can see, we do have some red indicators, and I'm going to just make sure I review that. And once I understand where that budget may have been out of the range, I can provide a comment to fill in just to make a note for the reviewer. All right. So everything here is in the green. You are able to input any data that you need. So here I also can make an update. Okay, this amount may change. So I want to change this to 500 rather. All right. And everything looks good here. And once I'm satisfied with the details that I put in place in this particular budget form, I could go ahead and save the data. And then I'll go ahead and complete the task because it looks good to me. And it shows that it's waiting a review, and I still have one more to work on. But let's see what our demo admin side sees now. So this is Janet's point of view. So now Janet is curious to see if Brianna has completed her assignment, and oh, she has a notification. Assignment awaits your review. So Janet can now check to see what assignment is ready. All right. So now this is Janet's point of view. She can scroll down and see what changes Brianna may have made. And oh, she put a note and she put a Y there. So I could possibly reject this because there's a Y that made its way within Meet. And so beyond that, let's say it is good to go. We'll mark this as reviewed. And Janet can now see that Brianna still has one report that she needs to work on. So that's a good way to show if we have anything left. And then here it shows that she has completed that. But I'll jump back over to Brianna's point of view, and she has a notification. So all of this is in real time. You can see that now my assignment was reviewed. So that is good to go, and I have one more assignment to work on. All right, let's go back to the slides here. Okay, so overall, this was a visual representation and demo of how the workflow works in real time, making sure that your budget data has been input in the system and it can quickly be reviewed and pushed back for additional updates or submitted to move forward on the next assignment. So this is a process that helps expedite the budgeting flow. All right, let's go into. So here's some additional industries that we work with. We offer industry-specific financial planning and analysis accelerators for sectors such as the SaaS, construction, nonprofit, and senior living, among others. So we ensure our customers receive premium support and content that truly aligns with their needs. So, for example, for construction here, Solver enables daily monitoring of project profitability, scenario-based planning, and instant updates for change orders. So this results in less manual work, fewer errors, and improved visibility into labor, equipment, and overhead cost. Then for the SaaS companies, we can forecast recurring revenue, track bookings to ARR, to cash conversions, and overall, Solver helps you stay ahead of churn risk and optimize pricing growth. And then nonprofits, uh, it can grow revenue with targeted funder outreach. Simply simplify the program cost. Sorry. And Solver's tool helps track and report across multiple data sources. And then senior living. There could be some challenges that they face related to costs, staffing, regulations, and Solver streamlines data for patient-centered care and precise financial management. So no matter your industry, Solver's AI-powered analysis and predictions can help you accelerate intelligent decisions, improve operational performance, and adapt to changing business realities. So, with Solver, your budget process becomes a strategic advantage. You can accelerate intelligent decisions, drive better outcomes, and move beyond limitations, no matter your industry. Thank you for your time, and please feel free to scan the QR code to learn more about Solver. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, now we're down to 3 left. Thank you all for hanging in there. We
And then there were
appreciate it.
3.
Yes. Are you ready, Eric?
I am. Just let me get my screen sharing, and I'll be ready to go.
All right.
Okay. Well, as always, Amy, nice to see you. It's you think going, oh, I'm third last. That's great. I got a ton of time to do other work, and then you start listening to all these presentations, and people like Brianna just capture your attention, and then you don't do any work on the side. You've just been listening to the presentation. So it's been a great hour and a bit so far. So thank you. Today we're here to talk about MetaViewer and really just highlight how it is that we're bringing the intelligence into your accounts payable automation and so many other back office solutions with MetaViewer. So we've been in business for a little over 45 years now, and for well over 20 years, we've been offering a seamless ERP integration. Now, we cut our teeth, like many of the folks we've heard from today, in the Microsoft Dynamics world, and we're very well versed in Great Plains, Business Central, Finance Operations. However, as we've started to see the evolution of where our customer base is going, specifically those, manufacturing, distribution, retail, wholesale, agriculture, farming, healthcare, we realized that we needed to just expand our capability and take what we learned over the past 45 years and ensure that our implementation with Acumatica was seamless and that it was thought out based on all the learnings that we've had over the years. And that's really allowed us to not just be smart for your AP automation, but also your document management solutions and any other solution that you might need to integrate seamlessly in with Acumatica. So, we're talking about AP automation specifically. That is definitely where we've spent most of our time here at MetaFile. But when we look at that, we like to try to find ways that we can not only offer a solution that saves time, but we want to be able to offer a solution that, answers a problem and makes the overall capabilities of what the customer is looking for. It makes it an easier path to a solution. By the end of the day, you want to look back and be like, that was an easier day because of MetaViewer. And so we do that by offering, on average, after talking to our customers, 28 minutes can be saved per invoice for it to be processed based on your approval rules and workflows. There's also the ability to start to see real time your data and reporting and understand what's going on in the moment, so you can make decisions that are smart for the business and that you're not having to wait for data to come into. We also offer an approve from anywhere. So you can be, whether you're at your son or daughter's swimming lessons, you could be at a hockey game, you could be traveling. A lot of us spend some time in airports nowadays. You can log onto your cell phone, your tablet, laptop, go ahead and approve from anywhere at any time. that really ensures that you're not the bottleneck and that invoices you're not missing paying invoices on time, or getting some discounts because you paid it within the first 15 days. Whatever it takes to save money these days, that's what we've got to be focused on. So when you look at all of that and how that comes together, the main focus, and that's what we're all here to talk about, is just staying compliant. And by being compliant, you want to also offer all this robust functionality. And so MetaViewer offers that integrated AI functionality. It's multi-entity integration. So for the businesses that have multiple smaller businesses or divisions under one parent umbrella, we can offer the same seamless integration and workflows, albeit maybe different approvers and different individuals having to touch those invoices, but entity integration, both PO and non-PO automation. So ensuring that the automation, or even the autonomy, if sometimes depending on what the dollar value or what the rules are that you set up within the solution, allows you to be able to just move those through so much quicker, really giving you that much more time in your day. And so allowing you to not only expand across your growing enterprise into other areas, legal, HR, but also to expand your enterprise and have business growth without having to increase the number of headcount, really keeping your OpEx low. So we strive on finding those customers that are on their way to growth, or that are established based on older processes and methods, and help them kind of evaluate and evolutionize their process so that they could be more in front of the day-to-day and whatever may come their way, if you will. So it's easy for me to sit up here and talk about, the marketing things that I'm supposed to say around MetaViewer, but I think it's better if I can show you some of the things that it is that we do. And, as we talk about how Acumatica really enhances the overall, how MetaViewer really enhances the overall Acumatica experience. So here you see an invoice that we had come in. It's been written on, there's stamps. When it first came into the system, it was sideways, it was a bit blurry. And so when you first come in using MetaViewer, we have our ability to just capture the data. And so we have an AI-powered engine that captures all the data, it rectifies and prepares the PDF to be a clearer picture. And then all those areas in the yellow here are highlighted, and then they're extracted and populated over here on the left-hand side. So it just shows no matter how busy an invoice can be, by the time it gets ingested into the system, we can still take the data that's needed and populate those fields, as well as on the right-hand side, making sure that we have full compliance and journal entries. But we'll touch on that, because once you have the data entered, then we want to really go into some of the magic that is MetaFile, and that's our ability to do two-way and three-way matching. So often you get an invoice and a PO, and you need to reach into Acumatica, and you want to make sure, in this case, your bill and your PO are matching. And so in working with Acumatica, we're able to not only do the two-way, but if there's supporting documents like receipts, or potentially you've broken up the invoice, so there's multiple invoices all coming, or bills coming back to the same PO, we can then do that three-way match to make sure that everything correlates based on the line-by-line items you see at the bottom, and then the quantities and dollar values you see here in the overall bill. So again, and you'll notice that on the right-hand side, it's all being, all those notes and actions are being journalized and put into that audit journal. So that way, at the end of the year, when the auditors come, you can just get them access to the system, they log in, and they're able to see what it is you've done. You have a fully transparent and transitioned journal entries, and happy auditor means hopefully a quick audit, and they're out of your hair, and you're able to keep moving through the process. We talk about compliance and audits, and the reason we do is because so often they come and auditor will show up, and we're running around trying to find an invoice, or trying to find a contract, trying to find a document that they've requested. With MetaViewer, everything's in that one database. If it's not located here down the side, in your journal entry, you can have all those supporting documents that are also tied to the file. So if you just search for the invoice and it comes up, then you have all those other documents for the auditor to see. And a happy auditor, again, just means just means that you could spend more time being relaxed and trying to find different ways to grow the business. Remote access, the ability to be able to log in, whether it be on your cell phone, tablet, laptop, it really changes the game. It allows you to be able to keep the fluidity of those approvals going forward. And it also allows you to set up approvals that are seamless, but that can be touchless as well. So if you have certain dollar values that you don't need to sign off on, it can just autonomously, be approved and end up in your ERP. You see here when we're looking at, what the rules are, the approvals, we build all this in ahead of time through working with the customers and understanding what it is that they need, what their process is. Are there any areas that we should be looking at potentially tweaking, or do they just want to say their current process and just have it automated? And so by doing that and putting in these hierarchical trees, it allows them to really have a, automated solution that still follows all the rules that need to be in place. And then from that, you're able to, so now, we know we're compliant. We know we can access it from anywhere. If everything's matching, but what's happening in the greater scheme of things. And so when we look at that and we try to understand all the data that we compile on a day in, day out basis, anyone that's working with one of the ERPs, there is so much data that's coming in. And so being able to report on that data and to highlight that for the customer to be able to, walk through, and you're going to see it's in Excel. Sure, but we just produce it in Excel so that no one has to spend the time exporting it. And if you show me an accountant that doesn't know how to use Excel, you're probably not showing me an accountant, because I've never seen any accountant in Excel not just be able to just, work their magic. And next thing you know, there's tables, charts, and data that I didn't even know was feasible based on the numbers I saw on that sheet. But all of those things is what makes up MetaViewer, the AP automation solution. We also started as a document management solution. So when you look at the backbone of what MetaFile is, it is the MetaFile filing cabinet. And so we think that we're offering not only the payments, not only the POs to payments in terms of automation, but we also offer the back-end digitalization of anyone in an office that's still using paper. We can help you move everything to being digital. However, I think that sometimes on these calls, albeit at the hour 45 mark, we're listening, but we're not fully engaged. And it's the end of the day, and maybe I'm not as engaging as I hope to be. But if it's either of those two, or you just really liked what you heard today, I would love for you to sign on, book a 30-minute meeting, send me your address. I'll have a Starbucks delivered to your door, and we can just have a conversation around your business, around automation, and around how MetaViewer, if there's a fit for us as a partner, and if not, who I might know that could offer you the solution you're looking for. So please take the moment, when this presentation comes out, sign up for a meeting, and I look forward to talking to you. Again, my name is Eric Humes, Director of Sales Business Development, and AJ Gotcha, you see here, is our Business Operations Manager. Between the two of us, we're happy to talk with anyone at any time. And if we don't talk before that, hopefully we'll all see you in January in Seattle. See you soon.
Thanks, Eric. I love the new color, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It's nice.
Trying to be a little bit more
I
pizzazz,
like it.
you know?
Yeah. And you have a question in the Q&A, so if you could answer that after, that would
Okay.
be great. And next up, we have Dylan from CADTalk. Are you ready, Dylan?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Amy.
Sure.
I will share my screen in 1 second. Maybe. All right, let's see if this will present over to there. Nope.
I can see your
So we're
CAD.
doing it this way then.
Okay, I see slides.
Yeah.
Okay, you are good to go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm Dylan Olson, a solutions architect here at CADTalk. Today I'm going to go over CADTalk and do a brief demonstration here. So CADTalk is an integration solution for taking EBOMs from CAD programs, PDMs, PLMs, and transforming that information into a production-ready bill of material inside of ERPs like Acumatica. We were founded in 2006. We operate globally and are headquartered in Cincinnati. We serve customers on 6 continents. We have over 20 plus CAD integrations and over a dozen ERPs that we integrate with. So what we do, the biggest challenge that we're always trying to eliminate is minimize as much manual data entry from the engineering to manufacturing handoff, and with that, mitigate any risks that can come along with the manual data entry, but then also just kind of drive a little bit more job fulfillment because nobody really enjoys doing manual data entry for a living. And so our approach is with a configurable platform, meaning that CADTalk is an off-the-shelf software solution. We don't do any customizations to it, but it is fully configurable. So we can configure, any of your business processes that are needed to be enabled to go from CAD into ERP. How it works, so we pull that BOM, extract all the information from CAD, and then we kind of like query the ERP. So we're referencing Acumatica in this instance, and then transforming all of that data to put it in the correct structure, and then append any of that information from CAD with further details that would be needed to have, accurate stock items for procurement, manufacturing, inventory, and all of that. The key features are there's no custom coding. We do have bidirectional capabilities, intelligent part numbering, so where we're able to work with Acumatica. If you had specific number stacks that you had developed for what those stock items need to be numbered, we can enforce that same data. The real-time validation, we are working to the same validation rules that Acumatica has. So anything that you can't do in Acumatica, you are unable to do with CADTalk as well. And we're always staying up to date with all of the systems. So whether it's, the new releases of Acumatica or a new release of SolidWorks, that's why we do the configurable platform, where we're always able to maintain the integrations to those latest versions of all of the products. Why does this matter? Most of our customers are seeing 60 to 80% reduction in manual data entry. So that ends up equating to about $25,000 a year of savings per engineer, fewer errors, improving any rework that would have to happen due to, the handoff not happening at the correct times or things being missed. Faster production starts. So really eliminating that lead time of going from engineering to manufacturing. Engineers have more time to be innovative, and then a platform that grows with your business. So with CADTalk being a configurable platform, we always kind of start with that kind of crawl, walk, run approach and run continuous improvement projects with you throughout the year to be able to continue refining the rules that we have to enable more and more business processes as you are able to grow with CADTalk, or if it's at the time you're implementing Acumatica and what you learn more about exactly how you need things to be down the road, we're always able to help you with that. So now I will do a brief demonstration here. So here's Acumatica. I will log in. So now we're logged into Acumatica. We can tell because the login is no longer actionable, but the log off is, and I can even just load in stock items or non-stock items from Acumatica here. Today, I'm going to load a SolidWorks file. It's kind of it's a multi-level structure, but nothing too complex. It's a gear train assembly with a bunch of shafts, gears, bearings, and so on. I get prompted for which configuration from SolidWorks I want to select. I'll select this 4-gear set one. So what CADTalk is doing now is extracting all that CAD data. So the structure of the assembly file that I'm loading, all of the components that are consumed inside of that, gathering all of the custom properties, configuration specific properties, cut list items and properties, and all of the information related to the model, and then transforming that by looking into Acumatica if any of these items exist already, and if they do, what do we need to apply to a new item, and what do we need to apply to an existing item? So if it's an existing item with a BOM, do we need to create a new revision of that BOM? Or are there other things on the stock items themselves that need to be updated, and that's where we would configure the rules for CADTalk to enable anything that would be needed to create stock items or non-stock items and bills of materials. So here, this is that gear stack assembly that I was talking about. We have the parent item. CADTalk is traffic light color coded, meaning that anything that is red does not exist in Acumatica yet. Anything that's green means it exists and matches. Then anything that's yellow has changes. So it exists in both systems, but there's things that are being changed on it. So here, if we click on this single block icon, this represents our bill of material line. So here we can see that that description of this material is changing and the quantity is changing as well. So again, I know I mentioned it earlier, but with CADTalk, we are working to the same validation rules that Acumatica has. So if we got rid of this description here, we'll see that we won't be able to save it, and we'll have the validation error saying description required. So I can put that back in. And once you've reviewed that everything in here is accurate and correct, we can say save. And now CADTalk is kind of working bottom up with creating all of these stock or non-stock items, depending on how it's set up and what's needed. And then going through adding the production BOM header, adding the operation, and then adding all of the materials to the BOMs as well. Then you'll see here in a second that everything will go from red, yellow, and green. Everything will refresh as green once it's all done here. So now everything's green. So we can go into Acumatica. I got logged out. Oop. What am I doing? Go to the bill of material here. If I searched it right, it would help, huh? So here we can see all of those BOMs that were created. We can look at that parent level one, see we added a revision, added the work center, and we have all of the bills of materials here. So is CADTalk the right fit for you? Whether you have 55 engineers or more than 50, one facility or operate in 10 different companies, complex business rules, or just need simple automation, we have solution packages for you. Thank you.
Awesome, Dylan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we are down to the last one of the day. Thank you, all of you, for being here the entire time. We do appreciate it. It's just such a great way to see so many different solutions in one little mini virtual event. So I'm so glad you stuck around. All of you have stuck around since the beginning, because you know what happens after Patrick presents is you will be entered in to win the fire pit, and you will find out tomorrow if you won. So Patrick, are you ready to wrap up Acumatica Demo Day?
More than ready.
All right, I will let you take it away.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it as always, Amy. First of all, thank you to everybody who's still in attendance. I know it can be a long day, so glad to see quite a large number of names there still in attendance. So, with all that said, my name is Patrick Fuzzarini. I'm a solution consultant at k-eCommerce. We've been in business for over 25 years now, providing business-to-business e-commerce platforms to all sorts of organizations, from distribution, manufacturing, wholesale, retail, you name it. So today is going to be primarily a demo focused around some of the functionality that we offer, obviously in the time that we have here, about 15 minutes. And with that, I'll be talking about the business-to-business aspects of the system, as well as that integration, of course, to Acumatica. So with that said, we can take it away. Now you'll see here, I have on my demo environment an online store. Looks like pretty much any store that we might visit ourselves. But this store is specifically created so that it's primarily business to business focused, meaning that there's a number of pieces of functionality that will only be available to businesses. Things like, as we'll get into it, quick order entry tools and customer specific pricing and all the rest. But as we visit it, you'll notice that I do have the ability to actually add things to my cart, even though I haven't signed in as a user. So the system not only offers the ability to be a business-to-business e-commerce platform, but it can also double up as a business-to-consumer platform, really covering all your bases in terms of who you might want to sell to. And so in this example, you can see that we have certain items listed with a certain price and the ability to purchase, even though we don't know who this individual shopping is. Now, as soon as I sign in here, you may see a number of things that would change or stay the same depending on the use case. And this is where we start to see that difference. Because based on the login and the customer information, we're able to show different pieces of data to that individual. So for example, if when I sign in here in a minute, in this example, it's not going to be the case, but generally speaking, customers can have access to buy different products. So that means if you have a certain customer who maybe has access to buy these headphones, as well as some branded merchandise or some computer parts, for example, they'll be able to see everything listed in purchase. But maybe for some reason you've got some restrictions or some rules set in play that you have a different customer who should not be able to buy computer parts. They can only buy, let's say, audio components from you. And in that context, when that customer logs in, they won't even be able to see or search for those computer parts because they won't be available in their experience. So it's a catered experience from customer to customer. Now, once I sign in here, we'll be greeted with the typical returning customer and password options where they can sign in. New customers can register on the fly if they so choose, and if you give them access to do this. And similarly, let's say, you might have, this is a question that comes up often enough. There are a lot of customers in your system today in Acumatica that you might want to give access to the system. Everything holds. It's just a question of inviting them to the online store. So they'll be able to see all their historic data, all their information. It's using the existing account information within the system. So once I sign in here as a returning customer, this is where we start to see that level of personal detail. So first and foremost, we get a dashboard. We get to see the latest orders on my account, as well as some frequently ordered products. Now, these items are items specifically for my experience, meaning that they're items that I have purchased in the past or that I have purchased frequently, and therefore they're listed to me. So everyone will have a different options here. So that way, we can very easily add items to the cart in a couple of clicks without necessarily having to do a full search to get those items in play, right? I don't have to go into my categories and search for that previous item. It's right here as soon as I log in. And we also get to see the latest orders, as I mentioned already. Now here, the status, you may notice some of these are pending, some of them are shipped, as you can see here. And this is all dependent on what is going on in Acumatica. So the system is being fully integrated, is always verifying to make sure that the order information is up to date and accurate, so that when something is shipped, we'll see that order information and can click into maybe packing slip info if there is any. So, tracking numbers and things of this nature. And we can also just review the order as a whole. Now, we often get returning customers, especially in B2B, Who are the types of users who like to order the same thing all the time? And so very quickly, they can go into their past order and order again just by clicking a single button. Now, this will essentially recreate that shopping cart with today's values. So we get today's price, of course, and the quantity if they are available. It'll say that if there's a back order needed, like in this case, that'll be displayed. So all that to say, reordering with the system is something that is extremely important and easily doable within the platform. Outside of this, if I go back to my order tracking information, I showed you the last 5 orders that were placed on the customer's behalf, and we go much deeper than that. In fact, we can go pretty much as far back into the accounting history in Acumatica as needed for this customer. So you'll see here when I do a search, all of the results will show. And then, from there we can jump into anything as we previously did. But the idea is that it's the full look into the accounting history so that we don't have to, go through emails or call in or do anything of that nature to see what's going on with our orders or invoices. Now, we talked about ordering off of past orders, but naturally, from time to time, we're going to want to buy new goods. And so with that, your classic e-commerce capabilities are most definitely possible. Things like filtering of attributes on those items, which can come from Acumatica, meaning that these will integrate through. And the general idea is that we have a lot less manual data to enter into the system to run an online store, because all that data already exists in Acumatica, and we can pull them over in the system. So we see these items, we can add them to cart, but if I click on that good, we'll see that this one's already in the shopping cart, so we might want to change our quantity. Key pieces of data like, the title that we see here, product code, pricing, availability, and so on. These fields are all syncing from the ERP so that they are always up to date and accurate. But there's a lot of extra data that you might find here. Maybe there are images that we don't keep in Acumatica. Maybe there are long descriptions that you might see here, or additional features and specs that you want to include in the system. All of this extra data can be uploaded directly through the k-eCommerce system so that they are that they sit there instead of having to sit in Acumatica. A good use case of this would be if we have, a marketing team who is running the online store, but doesn't necessarily need to be in Acumatica to make product-related changes. We've given them a tool that lets them do that without having to, go into a giant system like an ERP and make the changes there. They can stay relevant to what's needed for them. So all this to say, we can add items to the cart, we can change the quantity, and really carry on in that way. You'll notice that the shopping cart down the right-hand side is available with all that info. The system is also, I'll take a quick side note, is also fully not just responsive, but it's been designed with a mobile-first approach. So you can notice that the shopping cart has been verticalized, and there are other options that really shine through on a mobile device. So if ever we were to change the viewing, I won't do it here today, but the experience is pretty seamless and feels very much like an application, even though it's through a web browser, which is arguably today's expectation in the world of e-commerce. Do a quick time check here. Great. Now, before I carry on and finish up, we talked about ordering off of, searching for items, which of course you can do any keyword search. We talked about ordering items off of previous orders, but there's a particular tool that I want to show here today, and it's called the Quick Order Entry tool. Really what this order tool is a part number quantity order entry sheet. Again, specific to the business space, it's very common that I might want to order 10, 20, 30 line items at a time. And that can be long if I'm going into my category, finding the item, filtering through, and then adding to cart. I know the item, I need to check it out. So if I do, I can enter the code of that item and it'll just show up in the cart. No need to leave this page. If I don't know the item, I can input it either through a barcode scanner, which is often used, Or I can open up a search panel here, enter a search term, let's say bows, and see the results appear on my screen, at which point I can add one of these to the cart, as we see. And then we continue on. So it's very fluid and very quick to build a shopping cart through this type of system. Of course, at any point in time, we can open up product information down the right-hand side here and see those details so that once again, I don't have to leave this page while I'm adding items to my cart. But most importantly, at least for me, the real strength of this tool is when we have a spreadsheet that we might keep on the side, something that might look like this. And historically, maybe I would have to email this off to a sales rep and have them fill it into Acumatica directly. But through this type of tool, what's very easy is that all I do is take the column and quantity cells that you see here. So all I need is the code and the quantity, and then I can copy those cells and paste them into my system. And within a couple of seconds, you'll see all those items were added to the cart. Naturally, there's a few errors since I have an ongoing cart already. But this is good because it shows that everything there are checks and balances. We can see that certain items are already in the cart, so not to double up, I'm notified and can remove those items. And similarly, if there's something that needs to be changed on the item, for example, this particular one didn't have any quantity input, I can go ahead and add that so that everything is clear once again. And once that's all good and ready, I'll proceed to checkout and go through the checkout phase. Now, I won't jump into the detail here just for today's session, but naturally all the billing and shipping information is all listed out. Shipping addresses can be added on the fly and calculations can be done in a number of ways, which we can get into another day. But we see the order, we see what's available to be shipped, and then we can check out. In terms of taxes, of course, we integrate to Avalara. That's a huge player in this space, so tax calculations are always correct as well. And the last piece I'll talk about here before finalizing this order and seeing it in Acumatica is this. Payment information, just like pricing, just like product information, payment information can be on a per customer basis. So if you have certain customers that are on account, and you have other customers that should only be paying by credit card or even by ACH, which is also accepted, we can really be specific in terms of who gets what and who pays appropriately. So depending on their use case, the right payment terms can be used, where naturally they can pay by credit card or ACH, as I said. Now, checking out here brings me to an important step, which a lot happens in the background. Doesn't look like much, but in the background, there's a few different things going on. The first one is that this order is being created within the next few seconds. There's a web order number W55. So within Acumatica, that order will exist. Secondly, an email is sent out to the customer, of course, thanking them for placing their order and giving them some detail. And finally, emails can be sent out internally to the internal team, essentially letting them know that a new order came into the system and they can go check out Acumatica to see further detail. And just to double up on that point, Excel versions of the order can be sent as well for other purposes if it makes it easier for viewing. So the email can have an attachment, which would be that order. And you see here that the order number from Acumatica now exists, 6594. So going into Acumatica, hopefully I'm still logged in, and opening up my sales orders, you'll see here 6594 is listed next in line. We have the date, we have all the information. And to wrap this up pretty cleanly, I'll just say that we're not adding new fields, tables, or anything into Acumatica. It uses all of the standard information that's available. So it's trying to be as vanilla as possible on the back end. That's not to say we can't integrate to custom fields. That is totally possible. But as a basis, we've standardized the system. So you see that order come through with all of its relevant data in a standard implementation of Acumatica. With that said, I think that's time. So I'll pass it back to you, Amy, to wrap us up.
Well, thank you so much for finishing Acumatica Demo Day with us. And thank you everyone for being here for all 10 demos. As I mentioned, this is recorded and we will be sending out the recording email in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that as well. And we just want to appreciate you and thank you. And we're so excited that you were here joining us today. And we hope you got a lot out of it and saw a lot of great solutions to help automate and streamline your business. So thank you everyone for being here. We appreciate it. Have a great day.